What's up, guys, and welcome back, or welcome to an all new video here. This is Jonathan, post weekly videos to help you multiply and protect your value in and through real estate. Just leaving an appointment here with a client. I thought I'd just shoot for the very first time a video in the car, because I'm getting this question more and more, both from clients and also from other real estate professionals. And here's the question: what is the market? What is the market value? And a lot of people that think they know what the market is or know what the market value is really on real estate, usually I find just don't know. And it's a little more complicated than a lot of people realize. And here's the reason why. Let's take Apple stock, for example. If you want to know what the value of one share of Apple stock is, there's a very easy way to find it. You just open up Google, you type in Google current value of Apple stock, and you see what one share of Apple stock is currently trading at. You understand what the market value is. You also understand what the market is. Well, it's not necessarily what an employee can buy Apple stock for, or what you can derivative into that Apple stock for, any of that other crap. It's really, what is the market yielding for a share of Apple stock? It's pretty simple when it comes to stocks, for example. But real estate's different. And let me explain why it's different. You could look at really a share of Apple stock, for example, like commodity pricing, meaning that you're not going to get a qualitative difference from one share of Apple stock to the next share of Apple stock. Pretty much they're the same. It's like if you were to go into the grocery store and you wanted to buy a can of tomatoes. Well, one can of tomatoes is not really going to be any qualitatively different than the other can of tomatoes. They're basically the same. Pricing should be the same. Well, in real estate, it's not that simple, because each property is different, each property is unique, therefore the value is going to change. You can't look at it like commodity-based pricing. It ends up being a little bit more challenging. So then the question really is, well, what is the market then? Because if you want to know what market value is, then you need to know if a property is, quote, on the market, and that it was properly marketed so that it really truly yielded what the exact or guesstimated value of that piece of property is. So what's the market? Well, the market is typically the realtor controlled database, usually called the MLS, your local multiple listing service, where the vast majorities of properties are housed. It's almost like the US stock market. Well, there's the housing market, and the housing market locally and nationally is usually that market where most or all of the homes are located, so that you can truly determine appropriate market value. And usually that is on your local multiple listing service. And here's what happens when you put a property on the multiple listing service. Once it's on there, it gets syndicated to all the other different platforms, the Zillows, the Redfins, the Realtor.coms, the Home Snaps, all of these different websites. They really are the output of putting a home on the multiple listing service, and then it gets syndicated onto these different websites. Now, in different countries, I know it can be a little different, because you may have these different banks that have different multiple listing services. That's for another video. It's for another country. But for the most part, if you are in the USA, you have a main multiple listing service that when a home is marketed there, it gets kicked out to all the different third-party platforms and all the other ones that you are aware of. Now, here is the key point. Regardless of what it used to be, the for sale sign in the yard, or the newspaper, or your local magazine, really what the market is that multiple listing service, and you can sell any home when you put it on that MLS. If it's not on that MLS, then someone could make the argument it didn't get the appropriate market exposure, because you just had it on one of those syndicated sites like a Zillow. You didn't expose it to the broader market, and so you didn't get proper marketing exposure. The argument, though, is, my friends, is if you want to know what the market is, it's the multiple listing service. That's where you're going to get true market value, not yard signs, not newspapers, not printouts, the multiple listing service. Now, it is true that you can get more leverage based off of putting it there and then advertising it on different platforms like social media platforms. And if you do Google pay-per-click, that gives you far more exposure and far more leverage. And depending on who you partner with to get your property sold, you can 100% get a lot more leverage depending on if you use those platforms or not. And many of them will pay, like we do, to get more exposure on those different platforms. But the market is what I just said it was. And if you want to know what it is, that is the answer to the question, my friends. It's really your local multiple listing service and how that yields appropriate market value. Now, in the next video, we're going to talk about one of the greatest assets and liabilities to getting market value, and that is days on market. So be on the lookout for that video. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've got any questions. Hopefully this was clear. First time I'm doing a video while I'm driving at the same time, so I am multitasking. Forgive your boy here if there's a little bit lack of clarity. I'm not sitting in front of the camera like I normally do, and so we may be context switching, but I'm hoping this is able to get this word out quickly based off the amount of questions that I'm receiving. That's all for now. I'll see you in the next video. See ya.